The Oklahoma highway stretched out before me like an endless black ribbon, swallowed by the thick fog that had rolled in just after sunset. My phone's GPS sputtered, the signal weak and unreliable. I'd been warned about the spotty reception in these parts, but this was ridiculous. I tapped the screen in frustration. Getting nowhere. Great. Lost and with a car that sputtered and coughed like an asthmatic grandpa. The engine died with a groan, throwing the car into sudden darkness. Panic clawed at my throat. I fumbled for the flashlight I kept in the glove compartment, its beam cutting through. Outside, the silence was deafening, punctuated only by the rhythmic hum of crickets. I stepped out of the car, the cold night air biting at my skin. The fog was so thick I could barely see a few feet in front of me. I popped the hood of the car, hoping for a quick and easy fix. But as I shone the flashlight into the engine compartment, I saw that a hose had come loose. I sighed in frustration. This was going to take longer than I thought. I got down on my hands and knees and started to tighten the clamps on the hose. My fingers were stiff with cold, and I could barely see what I was doing. Suddenly, I heard a sound that made my heart skip a beat. It was a faint rustling sound coming from the bushes that lined the road. I froze, my breath caught in my throat. What was that? I turned back to the engine compartment and tried to focus on my work, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I kept glancing over my shoulder, expecting to see something lurking in the shadows. That's when it happened. The orange ball rolled out from the darkness of the bushes and onto the road with an ominous slowness. My heart hammered in my chest as I watched, frozen in place. Who would be playing here in the dead of night? Fear gripped me like a vice as I scrambled back into the driver's seat, locking the doors with shaking hands. Outside, the moon cast an eerie glow through the thick fog, creating a scene straight out of a horror movie. The air was thick with an unsettling silence, broken only by the pounding of my own heart. I peered into the darkness, straining to see anything out of the ordinary. My breath caught in my throat when a faint tap sounded on the car window. Slowly, I turned my head, and there she was, a little girl in a white dress, her pale face pressed against the glass, eyes empty and lifeless. "Play with me," she whispered, her voice chillingly calm. I shook my head in disbelief, sweat beading on my forehead. How could this be happening? Suddenly, the girl retreated into the mist-shrouded bushes, disappearing as quickly as she had appeared. I sat frozen, trying to make sense of what I had just witnessed. Time seemed to stand still as I sat in the safety of my car, trying to steady my breathing. Minutes passed like hours before I cautiously ventured back outside to finish repairing the car. The orange ball still lay on the ground nearby, a silent reminder of the unsettling encounter. Just as I closed the hood and breathed a sigh of relief, there she was again, standing to the left of the car, her gaze fixed on me with unsettling intensity. I could feel every hair on my body stand on end as I tensed, ready to bolt at the slightest sign of danger. "Play with me," she repeated, her voice echoing in the stillness of the night. This time, I approached the ball cautiously, nudging it toward her with trembling hands. She picked it up gracefully, a faint smile playing on her lips. "Good boy, you may go now," she said softly, before turning and disappearing into the darkness once more. With trembling hands, I scrambled back into the car, heart racing as I fumbled for the keys and started the engine. The headlights pierced through the thick fog, illuminating the empty road ahead. I gripped the steering wheel tightly, willing the car to move faster, away from this nightmare. I would never forget the night I met the little girl in the fog, and I would never forget the fear that she put in my heart.